What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome back to the Transfer View. And talks reportedly are set to begin for a new goalkeeper coming through the doors at Manchester United. According to new reports, in the next few days, Manchester United and Aston Villa could have club-to-club contact over the signing of Emi Martinez this summer. Now, reports yesterday suggested that the World Cup winning keeper could be available for £40 million. The suggestion from the likes of Fabrizio Romano is that Martinez would be interested in making the switch to Old Trafford this summer, despite having no Champions League football at the Theatre of Dreams over the course of the 25-26 season. But there still is a big question mark over the future, or possibly lack thereof, of Andre Onana. If Onana doesn't go, could the Martinez move not happen? Could both be competing for the spot of the number one goalkeeper at Manchester United? Is there a situation where Manchester United might force Andre Onana's hand? And the real question is, like we spoke about previously, and like a lot of people are talking about on social media, £40 million for a goalkeeper that's nearly going to be 33 years old in a goalkeeping market where half-decent goalkeepers, upgrade certainly on Andre Onana, are going for 5 million, 10 million, 15 million. So 40 million, I know he signed a new contract just last year until 2029, but PSR issues, take advantage of them. 40 million pounds when you're spending 62.5 million on Cunha, possibly 60 plus million on Brian Mbeumo, and we've still got to get a striker, possibly a midfielder. The goalkeeper position is a priority position, absolutely, but 40 million pounds for Martinez, and there are questions that Martinez, maybe he's just as blunderous as Andre Onana. Is it even that much of an upgrade? Is it £40 million worth of an upgrade? Let me know your thoughts about that as always, because this is the Transfer View. It is Friday. It is June 20th, and we've got a lot to discuss this morning. Now, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As you can see in the top right-hand corner, we're getting closer and closer to 200K. We're going to hopefully get it over the summer. Fingers crossed in the chat to get to 200K. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Click that like button. We've already got 500 people through the door, which is fantastic. We're already nearly at 100 likes. So let's see if we can get to, 500 likes, 750 for a solo-in show. It's going to be a big one this morning. There's quite a lot happening in the world of Manchester United. And I tell you what, it's bloody hot. It is boiling. You can probably hear the fan in the background. And obviously, I know whenever we do there's a heat wave in the UK, you get people going, well, where I'm from, that's a cold day. But for us, it's boiling. It's everyone's got their fans out at the moment. So hope you're staying cool, hydrated. And where are you watching from? What's the weather like? What's the weather like where you are? We'll probably be doing a lot of weather checks as we get closer and closer to the tour over the summer. I can see people in the chat. A lot of people have got a lot of opinions on this £40 million. Ridwan, one of our mods, big up all the mods in the chat, says if we spend anything above 25 million for Emi Martinez, I have huge questions for Ineos. Skiliardo says, I'd prefer that 40 million goes on a striker or a central midfielder. Alternative Facts says 40 million for Martinez is typical United. Gareth's in there, says, good morning. I'm from sunny Leeds. Good morning to you, Gareth. Mustafa says it's so hot. It is bloody hot. Yeah, it is very, very hot. Avi, one of our members, says 40 million is ridiculous. Yes, big up to all the members in the chat as well. Yeah, it's warm. It's rather warm. And things are hot, just like it's hot for Manchester United in the transfer market. Segue. See what I did there? Segue. Yeah, good segue. Right, let's talk about this Emi Martinez stuff, because I know loads of people have got a lot of opinions on this. The Super Chat goal question for this morning is simply, Emi Martinez to Manchester United, yes or no? So you can get a Super Chat. Let us know your thoughts on that. Martinez, right? These were the stories coming from. We spoke about this a little bit yesterday. We had quite a lot of discussion about the 40 million price point, but it looks like these talks are set to begin over the next couple of days, according to reports coming out of Argentina First, who are suggesting that talks between Manchester United and Aston Villa over Emi Martinez are set to commence in the next few days. Martinez has already given the green light to sign for United, with talks advancing in the last few days. Now, in addition to this, Fabrizio Romano, this was, I believe, on Give Me Sport, there was a lot of confusion whether this was actually posted on his Twitter account, if he said it on YouTube. I believe this was in a column he does for Give Me Sport. Could be wrong. But he said that Emi Martinez would be willing to join Manchester United this summer, even without Champions League football. Initial contact has been made with his agent, and Martinez is waiting to see what happens with Andre Onana. So this is an interesting one because some are suggesting, look, the talks are happening regardless. The transfer, United are going for it. Martinez wants to move to United. Others, maybe more credible journalists, although when it comes to these kind of transfers, you can't rule out the local journalists, as we've seen with Victor Gyökeres this summer, and the whole Portuguese journalists and outlets being spot on before anyone else. Could be the same here with these Argentinian reports about Martinez. So what's happening with Onana, you ask? Well, according to Romano, Manchester United are not desperate to sell Andre Onana, and he's still part of the project approved by Ruben Amorim, which is interesting because just a few weeks ago, it was like Amorim's not having him. Now maybe he is having him. I'm not sure. But in the case of a good proposal for all parties, he'd not be untouchable. Now, you may be saying, Owen, why aren't we going for other goalkeepers? Well, according to a report coming out of Portugal, Diogo Costa is Ruben Amorim's favourite option in goal if Manchester United are to replace Andre Onana. But that doesn't really seem to be picking up much momentum because I can't really see anyone else putting that out there. Maybe that's one of hope as opposed to one of reality. We spoke about this a lot yesterday, and I know that a lot of people have got a lot of opinions on this. I've actually got some stats that I can get on the screen in just a second about Martinez and about comparisons to Onana, because I think it stems from concerns about the price point, concerns about the quality. In my opinion, Emi Martinez, I think, is an upgrade on Andre Onana, right? I do think that's an upgrade because, frankly, anyone, bar a couple of people, I believe, is an upgrade on Andre Onana. So it's a very, very, very low bar, right? So that's not even like that's a crazy take. Onana points last season couldn't even save the ball, so it's we're talking about not huge amounts of difference, right? The £40 million, that really worries me, to be honest. That really concerns me because I just don't see a reason why he should be £40 million. You've got players, particularly goalkeepers, in this market. We spoke yesterday about it. Kelleher going from Liverpool to Brentford. We'd never been able to get him from Liverpool, but he'd be an upgrade on Onana. 80 million. Flecken going from Brentford to Leverkusen. He'd be an upgrade on Andre Onana. Something like 8 million, right? So the goalkeeping market, there was the story yesterday going after the Torino goalkeeper? I forget his name. Isn't it Milinkovic-Savic, ironically enough? Where was the story yesterday? I saw it on United District. Shout out to Dylan and the guys. And be sure to check out the red carpet. There you go. Yes, Milinkovic-Savic. Napoli are in talks with Torino over the goalkeeper Milinkovic-Savic as they aim to preempt any potential interest from Manchester United and other clubs. The suggestion was that he'd be available for around something like 15 or so million quid, along those lines. I've never even seen him play, but I'm fairly confident he'd be an upgrade on Andre Onana. If you're not going to make so many mistakes that actively cost us points, you will be an upgrade on Andre Onana. This past season, there was a suggestion that Altay Bayındır could have been an upgrade on Andre Onana, and Bayındır's rubbish. He's not even that good. He's a backup goalkeeper if I've ever seen one, and not even an amazing one. Tom Heaton has just signed a new contract at Manchester United for another year, and there is genuine calls of, well, get him in. He's better than the two we've got. So anyone's near enough an upgrade. So, yes, Emi Martinez would be an upgrade, but 40 million? Look, that might be Aston Villa's value. I would be disappointed. I would be disappointed if Man United ended up paying. And actually, I'd be actively worried and concerned. I'd be looking at, and we're going to talk about Jason Wilcox, who is leading, the push for all of these purchases this summer, because it would just be so, I think, out of character for the purchases that we've seen of Ineos thus far. The price point has been, between sort of 30 to low 50s, but therefore outfield players either in their prime or young players, not goalkeepers who are historically cheaper than any other position. He's going to be 33 in September. Aston Villa have PSR issues too. So if you don't use that for leverage, if Aston Villa may want 40 million quid because they need to make 40 million quid to overcome the PSR problem. But that's not United's problem. United's problem is their goalkeeping position. And there are other options on the market. So you would go, absolutely not. Absolutely no way. And Villa can go, well, he signed a contract last year until 2029. That's not our problem. That's not our issue. Chelsea just walked away from signing Magic Mike. Yes, remember that from the Flex and KG Play Fever days. Magic Mike in goal, the AC Milan goalkeeper. And that was like 21 million. Chelsea walked away from that, and they were like, well, that's a bit too much. But that's a bit too much for them, for Chelsea. Same team that pays like 100 million for the other Martinez in midfield, right? Enzo Fernandez, excuse me. Enzo Fernandez in midfield. Martinez and Fernandez. I've got them on the brain. There's so many. But you get my point. They broke the record. They broke the record. 115 million for Moises Caicedo. They said no to about 20-ish million for Magic Mike, a genuinely top goalkeeper, a top goalkeeper. So why would we pay 40? Why would we do that? I don't understand that. Is he an upgrade on Onana? Yes, because who isn't? But I'm not going to sit here and go, we're not going to get Emi Martinez, because I don't think. I don't know if I can rule that out. He was crying. He was literally, we got some actual clip of him when he was walking off of the Villa Park pitch in that last game. And everyone was like, "What was that? What was that? Why is he crying for? He was driving away from Villa Park, and it was like,
he's crying in his car.
Everyone's like, that's odd. That's odd. What's going on with that one? What's going on with that? And everyone's like, and you do the KG deduction. Why he's leaving? It means he's leaving. He's saying goodbye. So this, I guess, maybe stems from that. But 40 million.
Now go home and smoke some more crack.
Absolutely not. Absolutely no way. And like I said, when it comes to other options, they are out there. Just because we can't, it's like this is the weird thing you get into when in transfer season. I don't know if you guys knows this. When you go, I don't really think that's the right option. Then the natural comeback some people start doing, they go, well, who would you want then? And if you can't name them, then apparently that means that one that's not an option is the right option because you can't name them. Okay, no. No, it doesn't work like that. It just, as much as I may have an inflated ego about myself, or anyone may have an inflated ego about their self or what their voice means. Everyone's voice matters. But at the same time, just because we say, I don't know, go get Kylian Mbappe, that doesn't mean, oh yeah, we're going to go get him. Why? Well, because Owen said so. Yeah, he said so. Well, who would you get then? Who would you get? Well, I've just named him. Go get Magic Mike. Go get the Torino goalkeeper, Milinkovic-Savic. Go. There are options out there. That's the job of the scouting department. That's the job of the scouting department. That's the job of Jason Wilcox. If they genuinely go, we can only come up with Emi Martinez as the only person that replaces Andre Onana. That
Red flag.
You said you've got nobody else you can possibly think of. Nope. It's the only one we could get. We're playing Football Manager. We've got a scouting range of just UK and Europe, UK and Ireland, and that's it. We're not going into Europe or anything like that. No, we don't have the scouting budget for that. There's been cuts, perhaps. So I'm not opposed to Emi Martinez. I'm opposed to the price. That price really concerns me. And I'd be interested just to know what wage he'd be asking for as well. But yeah, if the legwork was already done, right, with the Chelsea one going for Magic Mike, go get him. Go get him 20 million. Go like people say, bring Kovar back. Bring Milinkovic-Savic from Torino. And Ashik says, isn't a guaranteed success. No transfer is. but neither does Emi Martinez. And if he's not, I would say £40 million. That can be better spent, in my opinion. A couple of super chats here. Amanor says, Owen, hit its effing reckless button, please. Well, you pay for it.
Fucking reckless! That's fucking reckless!
Only gonna get me up.
Save the Jungle has been a member for 23 months. Says, we need to spend on players that guarantee results or don't bother signing anyone. Amanor also says, if Amram loses Fully and Burnley, then red flag. Wow. I mean, look, we spoke about those fixtures when they were released early this week. As I've said before, you know me, I've done a few pre-seasons now with you guys here at United View. I'm not big on the results matter or the performances matter in pre-season. I'm still a believer in it. I'm still a believer in that doesn't really matter. Pre-season is about fitness, and in the tier system, it's like fitness, performances, results. But the pressure's so on, isn't it? That pre-season tour, of course, we'll be at all the games. We'll be in Sweden. We'll be in the United States. We'll be at Old Trafford. The tour sidebar here. Let me go find it. Let me be professional about this. There you go. Perfect. We'll be at all of the games. That's my channel. That isn't perfect. But it's good, though. You should subscribe. There you go. Is brought to you by Oxford Natural by Gowan Life. And the pressure will be on. Pressure will be on. If there's a bad result or a bad performance in there, the meltdown. We saw it in the postseason friendlies, didn't we? With that game against Asian All-Stars. Good grief. And we know we get coverage like nobody else. Oh my God, we get coverage like nobody else. So yeah, those results and performances are important. They are going to be. The scrutiny is at an all-time high at the moment. So yeah, hopefully no red flags. Terrence with the super chat. Big up, Terrence. Always gets involved in the morning shows. Always gets involved with the super chats. Big up to you. Happy Friday. It says 40 million is probably the Prem proven tax included, something we should also do if Garnacho goes to a Premier League rival, even though I'd rather see him go to Italy. Well, this is the other interesting thing, isn't it, with the Premier League stuff? Because you see, is it João Quantas going to Bayer Leverkusen? Going to Bayer Leverkusen, 40 million euros. 40 million euros. Now, I'm telling you, yeah, if we were selling, you know, a centre-back that wasn't really sort of starting centre-back, young centre-back, you know, not sort of like a key player, you know, something like that, you know, 22, they'd be like, well, it'd be like 15 million max. 15 million max. It'd be 15 million max. That's what it would be. The differences between fees of other teams versus fees for Manchester United, because, and this when it goes back to, and this was my whole argument with KG last week on the Trinity, which is we have to break out of that reputation. We do have to break out of that reputation that we are just pushovers. We are just pushovers. You know, when it comes to negotiating. Well, Man United, they can't sell, so we'll just, there you go, have him. Yeah, with the Garnacho one, legitimately, I mean, he's played over 100 times for Manchester United in the Premier League. He scored in finals. You know, scored in finals. He's 20 years old. You'll do well to find, like, if we were going after a 20-year-old from La Liga who had played over 100 times for their clubs, had played for their country, had scored goals in cup finals and won trophies, they'd be charging us 100 million. And it's not to say, oh, Garnacho's worth 100 million, because we know he's not. But at the same time, like, that's why people are like, just give 25 million. Fuck that. No. we've got to drive a hard bargain. And I'll get to that later on, because there is a bit of praise for Jason Wilcox in that, because we will dispel some myths actually this morning. We'll be in myth dispelling mode about some of the people we have signed, but we'll get to that in a bit. Ivor says, Emi Martinez feels like Victor Valdez all over again. The Victor Valdez one was just completely bizarre, wasn't it, with that? We signed him as a backup. I mean, to be fair, if I recall correctly, when we signed him, I think he hadn't played in like a year or maybe longer because he had a really bad knee injury. But it was weird that he was coming in and we were like, bloody hell, Victor Valdez is the number 2 at United. And then barely played any games. I think Louis van Gaal asked him to play in the reserves. He said no. And then he ended up at Middlesbrough. What a strange, what a strange end to the career. And then where did he go? Did he go to like Turkey after that? Victor Valdez. Yeah, playing in the Prem for Middlesbrough. They got relegated. Standard Liège. No, excuse me. It was, in Belgium. But yeah, ended his career at Middlesbrough. There you go. And he's been a manager. Didn't even know that. The more you learn. Just very quickly on this Martinez stuff, because I've seen this be put around a bit on social media. A lot of people are saying, there's no difference. There is no difference between Martinez and Onana. He's not really an upgrade because they're pointing out these stats. Let's begin with this. This one has been making the rounds. So in the same 2 seasons that Andre Onana has been in the Premier League, which of course was 23-24 and 24-25. Obviously 25-26 is this season. It hasn't happened yet. Onana's kept more clean sheets. Yes, Martinez has conceded less goals. But Andre Onana's made more saves. That's not too much of a surprise, considering in his first season, holy shit, how many goals did we concede? Shots did we concede? Good grief, how many shots did we concede under Ten Hag? Saves per match 3. Save success percentage, that's higher. This is the one people are talking about. They're going, look, own goals, Martinez 2 own goals, errors leading to a goal. It's only 1 less than Andre Onana, right? So basically means he's not an upgrade. Now, if you look at some other stats, just let's say last season, Emi Martinez pretty much wins every single category, whether it's saves made, percentage, passing accuracy, long pass accuracy, ground duel success, ball recoveries, possession loss. Martinez was better in that. In addition, some of those errors leading to goals for Onana, apparently, I saw that the one against Forest didn't count as an error leading to a goal. The one in the middle of the goal? That doesn't count. Basically, right, and I don't know how many times we have said this on these shows, you can find, the stats are out there for anyone. That the stats are, they can be manipulated to prove any point you want to prove, basically. If you're an Onana fan, I'm sure there'll be stats out there to prove why Onana is better than Martinez. If you're a Martinez fan, there'll be stats out there to, what about the intangibles? The intangibles are the stats that you can't really get down on paper, i.e. that just feeling of chaos and nervousness that gets put into the team. That's a concern. I don't know what stat that is, but Andre Onana absolutely has that, or things that maybe don't directly lead to a goal, but they play a big part in it, i.e. parrying it out to the side. Parrying it out to the side, is that an error that leads to a goal? Probably not, but I know it's led to goals. How do they organize the defense? Those kind of things. So I'm not really buying into a lot of those stats of going, well, oh, wow, Martinez, he's just as bad as Onana. It's not that much of an upgrade. As I've said, I think Martinez would be an upgrade, but I don't think it's £40 million worth of an upgrade. And I think the money should be spent, obviously, getting the 10s in, which looks like we're doing, getting the striker in. I don't know who that is at this point. And then you can get a goalkeeper for half of that, less than half of that, for 15 million. That would be an upgrade. So I'm just not on the 40 million. And if Man United do spend that, then we haven't learned our lesson. I don't think we have. So yes, we're nearly at 1,300 people watching, which is fantastic. Nearly at 300 likes, 15 likes to go until 300. So if you haven't already, click the like button. See if we can get to 500 for a solo and show this morning. A reminder as well, Red Carpet. Red Carpet is coming up later today, as always, on Fridays. It'll be coming up live at 4 p.m. It will be KG, Mr. The Comedian, and myself, and a special guest. Yes, a special guest will be joining us today on the Trinity. So be sure to join us live. Remember, it's live at 4 p.m. UK time. Whether or not it's cooled down by then, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Did I say Red Carpet? Trinity. Sorry. I tell you what, it's this heat, man. It's this heat. I've been dumb all morning. You know when you're just having one of those mornings where you're walking into a room and then you realize I have no idea why I've walked into the room. And then I realized I'm meant to be doing a show. Then the microphone's usually a giveaway. But no, but in all seriousness, I've done that a lot this morning. I've done that a lot this morning. I'm just not with it. I'm not with it. Maybe it's the weather. Yes, Trinity, KG that comedian, and myself, and a special guest, 4 p.m. That's what I'll be. I'll be more awake by that point. Good Lord. Yes, where are we going next? I just forgot that we had other things to get to in this show. I want to talk about it's more. I don't really the story, the source. Yeah. But what I do want to talk about is what you guys would do for right there the tour when it comes to the squad. Who would you have in the squad for the preseason tour? And the reason I ask you about this is because there's a story going around. I mean, the Mail are reporting on it here. I think it originated from the Sun, so gross. But I think it's worth a discussion point that Ruben Amorim was set to banish for Man United outcasts from the preseason tour as he prepares for an Old Trafford rebuild. Now, in the story, the suggestion is that Garnacho, Rashford, Antony, and Jadon Sancho will reportedly all be exiled. They'll all be exiled from Manchester United's preseason tour of the US. There was also, I think, another report suggesting that Rashford had said to Ruben or requested that he not be on the tour. Ruben Amorim didn't really care, something like that. There'd also been this report come from Samuel Lutkers yesterday that Marcus Rashford is expected to have his number 10 shirt revoked. It's set to be reassigned to Mateus Cunha once the shirt numbers get revealed in about a month or so time, I guess. So that was the story, that there was going to be these players banished from the preseason tour of the US. And let me know in the chat, regardless of whether that story is true or not, if you were in charge, or is that what you would like to see? Would you like to see these players that we are trying to move on, but already we're having those, it's going to be a bit difficult. It's going to be a bit, Rashford, he wanted Barca, the wages. Sancho, well, Chelsea did want him, but again, wages, couldn't agree a deal. Garnacho, you better pray you find a new club, mate, in front of everyone. Wants to stay in the Premier League. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough. Going to be difficult. Antony, yes, you probably out of all of them have maybe acted, more professionally, or there's been less fallouts, perhaps. But there have been disciplinary issues, haven't there? Even with Ten Hag. Remember when he played him at left back and then he complained about playing at left back? I think it'd be the right call. This season in general, not just the preseason, but in the season, we need a smaller squad. We need to move these players on. And we tried it last season, didn't we? We tried it last season with the whole, let's bring Sancho on tour. Let's bring him on tour because we want to put him in the shop window. We want to give the impression everything's okay, everything's fine. So it gives a bit of negotiating leverage up. But at this point, the genie's out the bottle, isn't it? Genie's out the bottle with this. Everyone knows that Man United want to get rid of Marcus Rashford. Everyone knows they want to get rid of Sancho. Everyone knows they want to get rid of Antony. Everyone knows they want to get rid of Garnacho. Ideally, would all of those issues be handled in a better way that didn't result in, public fallouts and people disappearing from the squad and this, that, and the other? Yes, it should have. And it has put us in an unfavorable position to negotiate, and that's shit. But I think at this point, we've got to get ruthless. We've got to do what Chelsea did last season with the Raheem Sterling thing. And even then, they couldn't get a permanent deal. Last season, they went to Raheem Sterling and said, mate, we're not even going to register you in the squad. We're not even going to register you in the squad. And even then, Sterling's like, I'm on over 300K a week. I'm happy with this contract. I'll dig my heels in. Arsenal come and do a loan. And even Arsenal are like, what a waste of money that was. He did nothing all season. So I think I wouldn't take if you're really pushing for them to go, and it's absolutely no question they have to leave, then leave them out of the preseason squad and just give them that time to force the issue. Just do it. Force the issue. You're going to need a small squad this season, because my just worry is if you take them on tour, that can give the impression of, well, they can still be won over. Well, Ruben could still use them. And I don't know about you. Maybe it's just the heat today. I just can't even be bothered to have those conversations, particularly for the people that haven't played under Amorim. So, like, say Sancho, if Jadon Sancho goes on the preseason tour and he has a couple of good games, I'm just so not here for the, wow, different manager. Wow, under Ruben, wow, in the 10, wow. Like for at least 3 of those players, how often have we, over the last 2 years, how often have we, as a fan base, bickered back and forth and got angry at each other about those players? Whether you're Rashford in or Rashford out, whether you're Sancho in or Sancho out, whether you're Garnacho in or Garnacho out, and all of them. And now even with Anthony, but the Anthony one, I suppose, wasn't as big because it wasn't as public as that. But still, I'm just tired. I just don't know if I have any more back and forth of everyone, saying that they could be an issue and they're not an issue. It's everyone else that is the problem, etc., etc. I just don't know if I've got it in me anymore, folks. I really don't. So I would just clean break for everyone. Everyone goes and finds a club and gets on with football. I think what we do have that's a positive, is that the World Cup's next summer. Because of that, whilst I don't think Sancho he's a million miles off making the England squad. Rashford, he's certainly on the fringes. It might be one of Rashford's last World Cups. If that's the case, mate, you definitely want to get in that squad. And you're not going to get in that squad if you stay at United. So you've got to find a move. Garnacho, World Cup squad. Argentina, defending world champions. You want to play in that competition, don't you? Well, you got to be playing every single week. Anthony, with Carlo Ancelotti as the head coach, you saw Casemiro get back into the squad. Anthony, I think, is getting back into the squad now. But if you have even half a season where you're not doing anything again, that might rule you out. So those players in particular, I think that is the leverage where if Man United do leave them out of this preseason tour, then there would be this fear of, oh man, I might not even be included in the squad. And it's not like last season when, Man United have got so many games, we've got so many matches that even if the manager doesn't rate me, he's just got to put me in because of rotation purposes. That really isn't the case this time around. We're playing once a week. So if you're not in, you're not in. None of this, we've got to rotate. We've got a lot of games in a short amount of time. No, that's not the case at all. So I'd leave them off the tour, force the issue, and then see if we can move them on. Some of the players I've already started to accept that permanent ones might be difficult. I do think the developments that have happened at Barca are actually a good thing for the Rashford loan. I'm already calling it a loan, but for the Rashford move, because I do think if they hadn't signed, a left winger or a winger in general, then there would have been this, they could still go after me and maybe I could still get my dream of playing for Barcelona. They want Nico Williams. They're going to get Williams. It's over. Dreams dashed. Find somewhere else. Have the agent start talking around. With Garnacho, we want to stay in the Prem. You go, where could he go? I mean, they're still saying Arsenal, aren't they? Maybe Chelsea, because you just never rule Chelsea out of anything. Where else could he maybe go? Maybe he does go. Maybe you do, for the Emi Martinez thing. Maybe somehow Garnacho is tied into that. Not in actually one deal. Maybe they're tied up in different deals. I don't know. I'm not sure. But definitely still with us not paying £40 million for Emi Martinez. No, thank you. We still need to get money. Absolutely, we need to get money. So, yeah, I would leave them off and just focus on the group that you want. Focus on the squad that you want to build. Like I've said, we need performances and results in that preseason tour. Absolutely. Just a bit of an update here. This is quite an interesting one. So obviously we spoke this morning, didn't we, about goalkeepers. We spoke about Emi Martinez, and we spoke about the future or possibly lack thereof of Andre Onana. Now, in a new report just coming out now from L'Equipe in France, Andre Onana is one of 2 goalkeepers being considered by AS Monaco this summer. The other is Chelsea's Petrovic. They've got like 1 million goalkeepers under contract, and like none of them are good. It's incredible. But Onana could be of interest to Monaco, which, if that's, hey, yeah, get some of that Monaco money. Okay, Andre, it's a lovely part of the world. I don't know how it works anymore with Monaco, because at one point, because obviously with the wealth that's there and having no tax and stuff like that. But I do feel like, unless I'm mistaken, they do have to adhere to like French rules as well, because there was a period of time where the clubs in France started to complain that basically Monaco had an advantage over everyone else because their players could go there tax-free and they could pay them a shitload of money and all this kind of stuff. And they were like, that's not fair. So I don't know how that actually works. I don't know how that works. But Monaco, I don't think, as we've said a million times, Onana, I don't think is the type of guy to dig his heels in. If Man United go to Andre Onana, you know what, Andre, appreciate you've been here for 2 years. It's not really worked out, has it? We're going to go in a different direction. Monaco have made an offer for you. I don't think Andre Onana would put up a fuss at all. I think he'd go, okay, no problem. That's fine. I'll go to Monaco. Cool, not an issue. Go there. So if they put an offer in, thank you very much. You know, like lots of people say, I'll drive them there myself. You know, whatever, no problem. Andre and I can go there. Thanks for the couple of years. You can go over there. Cool, not an issue. So the fact that's coming from L'Equipe, that seems pretty real. Is that an indication of this Emi Martinez story that actually, yeah, there really is something in it, and that's why they're talking to Martinez, because they think they found sort of a buyer for Andre Onana, and it is going to be Onana out, and it is going to be Emi Martinez in. Okay, I would love to know how much they're willing to pay for Andre Onana, by the way, because as much as you know about how much we paid for him, the Onana fee, about 47.2 million. Oh, that summer transfer window was just so bad, wasn't it? Oh my God. Mount, Onana, Højlund. Oh, honestly, seriously.
Honestly, I feel sick. That's how I feel. I feel sick.
But that deal, you go Onana. How many years he got left on his contract? Maybe like 2 or 3. I don't know what his book value would be at this point. Probably something like 25 million-ish. If we signed him for like 47, be about 25, 20-ish. So if you give him, that's what I would say. If you give us 20 million, 25 million. Is it 28 million? Bloody hell. Well, Monaco, you got the money. Come on. You want the money. This guy's playing the Champions. We'll have to do the Jedi mind trick that got done on us to sign Onana. He's played in the Champions League final. And then we go, he's played in the Champions League final. You want elite distribution? We want elite distribution. He does amazing passes. 47 million. That's a bargain. Doesn't matter we signed him on a free last season. It doesn't matter like we signed him on a free. No, okay, we'll do that. We'll have to find whoever did that to us and do that to them and say, 28 million. That's what we're looking for. And they'll go 28 million. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, great. As FA Cup winner. Played in another European final. He's played in another European final. It doesn't matter. He didn't win that one either. It doesn't matter. He won that one. Not a problem. Part of life is part of life. That's what we'll have to do. But if we're selling Onana for 25, 28 million, then again, there is no way you pay 40. 40. You pay 40 for Martinez. Absolutely no point. Absolutely no way. Not in a million years. No, thank you. So, but there's could be something in that. So we shall see. We are 3 likes away from 400 likes. So if you haven't already clicked the like button, we're nearly on our way to 1,400 people watching, which is fantastic. So if you haven't already clicked the like button, be sure to subscribe, as you can see right there in the top right-hand corner. Less than 100 subscribers away from 195,500 as we're getting closer and closer to 200K. The countdown is fully on. A big summer coming up for Manchester United and United View. So, yes, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I said we're going to dispel some myths this morning. Yes, that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be dispelling some myths about us just throwing money at the problem, right? And this is why I was having this big back and forth with KG last week on the Trinity, not the red carpet, the Trinity, was about how we've got to get out of this reputation we have of just throwing money, or just give people what they want, or just pay lots of money for wages, and then that's how we're going to bring them in. No. And also, people suggesting that that's the only reason we're getting players. It's not necessarily true. Now, it comes in actually a really good article that was written by Laurie Whitwell for The Athletic, Tier 1 Laurie, talking about Jason Wilcox. Now, of course, Jason Wilcox is now, what's his new, is it director of football? His official title is now. Since his appointment as director of football, Jason Wilcox has been leading Manchester United's transfer business and was behind the moves to sign Cunha and Mbeumo. He is assisted by Matt Hargreaves and Christopher Vavell, but the final decision is made between Wilcox, Omar Barada, and Ruben Amorim, with partial participation from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But this is an interesting one. Just to point out that this has been a constant occurrence when we have signed these younger players. Something that Jason Wilcox has been praised for during his time at Manchester United is the signings of the likes of Aidan Heaven, is the likes of Chido Obi, those younger players that hopefully are going to be the same for Sekou Kone. Hopefully it's going to be the same for Diego Leon. And the bitter bastards at the club that we got them from, particularly the Arsenal ones, is, you've only got him because you just were going to give him double the wages. You were just going to give him loads of wages. That's why you got him. Well, that's not true. Yeah? What would Anakin Skywalker say? Liar! That's what he would say, because Laurie says, in the process of signing Aidan Heaven, clubs such as Chelsea and Newcastle submitted more attractive financial offers, some of which reached double the amount offered by Manchester United. That's right. Double the amount offered by Manchester United. There were also interested clubs such as Barcelona and Marseille. But of course, we're just only because we're offering them money. Now, you won't see that a lot, because that's obviously not really sexy news, is it? You know, that doesn't go with what the sort of narrative is, isn't it? You know, Man United. And like I've said, we've earned that reputation. We've earned that reputation of shitty transfers. We've earned that reputation of overspending on transfer fees. We've earned that reputation for giving out stupid contracts on high wages. And then in 2 to 3 years' time, we realize they're rubbish and we can't move them on because we've given stupid wages and we overpaid because we're looking for a certain price point and we're looking for someone to pick up a deal that nobody would pick up. So we've earned that reputation, but that doesn't mean we can't get out of it. That doesn't mean we can't change that reputation. But the only way you change that reputation is sometimes in these negotiations, you've got to dig your heels in. And this is why with this Brian Mbeumo one last Friday on the Trinity, KG and myself, we went back and forth for like half an hour about it. You know, KG was of the mindset of, you know, if Brentford want 70 million or they want, you know, that's what closest they want, then just give him, because he's going to be a key player for us. And if he wants 200 or 250K a week, just give it to him because he's going to be a key player for us. Well, then we haven't learned our lesson then, have we? We haven't. Because for all of those big name players over the last decade that we have signed, we've done that for everyone, because every one of those players, they're going to be the one to save us. I just get Alexis Sanchez in. Just give him whatever he wants. To make sure he doesn't go to City. Just give whatever what he wants. He is going to save us. Have you seen him play in the Prem? He's going to save us. What was he on, like 500K a week or something ridiculous at United? 6 months later, oh shit, what are we going to do? Damn, he's not even that good, actually, is he? It doesn't matter. Just you know, with all of Højlund, but we need a striker. So I know he's young, but 72 million. He's got blonde hair and he's Scandinavian, so he's basically Haaland. He's Haaland. Just give Give Atalanta what they want, please. Just give them what they want. Just spend the money. We just need it. Spend the money. 18 months later, it's going to be difficult to move him on, isn't it? He's got a point to prove. Damn, that's a bit of a. Maybe that was a bit of a mistake. Onana, just give in. I know. Like a year ago, Inter signed him on a free transfer, and I know that the Ajax fans are going. Actually, well, he does make quite a few mistakes. So just give him what they want. Just give him the money. Give him the money. Did you see him in the Champions League final? Just give him the money. Just give him the money. Give him the money. Anthony, have you seen the comps? Have you seen the step overs? I know it's late in the window, and I know we could have got him earlier on, but if they want 100 million euro, just give him. Give him 100 million euro and put him on 200k. But I don't care. Just we need. He's the answer to the right hand side. We need. Just give him the money, please. Just give him the money. He's going to fix us. Just give him the money. We find ourselves in the same situation over and over again, and because of those examples that I've mentioned there, and they're just a few off the top of my head. Because of that, we've earned this reputation of, if you're a selling club and Manchester United come knocking at the door, if you just keep saying the number often enough, we'll pay it. So Brentford, we want 70 million. No, we're not going to give you 70 million. We'll start off with 45 plus 5. We want 70 million. Okay, look, you drive a hard bargain, but, we get 45 plus 5 last time. All right, here's 50 plus 5 in add-ons. So there you go. We want 70 million. We'll give you 70 million up front and 10 million pounds in add-ons. We've had enough. And you go, well, why have we ended up at 80 when that was even needed? But that's how we negotiate. That's how we've negotiated for the longest time. So when it gets into these deals this summer, and even if it is for these younger players, the hardest part is selling the player on the project. And particularly now, after finishing 14th in the league, 15th, whatever it was in the league, I've tried to erase it from my mind. That's where you earn your money in your job. Sell them on the project. Sell them on the project. Or in the case of, Matheus Cunha, well, he's a Man United fan, so he's not going to be interested in anyone else. Go and get him, and it's a release clause. We don't even have to negotiate. We could do the release clause. That's why that one was done quickly. Brian Mbeumo is not a release clause, but he only wants to go United. So got him on the project there. So we will get there eventually, and they will sell 70 million. I don't think it should be that. I still think it'll be similar to the Matheus Cunha one, which was 62.5, maybe a little bit more in add-ons. So even with those youngsters I mentioned, the Aid in Heaven, if any sort of bitter or sour Arsenal fan, because they are out there, and before the Arsenal fans in the chat, because I know you are watching, say, we don't care. Yes, you do, because for whatever reason, Cheeto last season, who wasn't even meant to be playing in the first team, Cheeto, right, was getting pelters from Arsenal fans just because he left. Just because he left. It was incredible. Like the amount of sort of sourness last season from Arsenal fans to Cheeto was unbelievable. When Kai Havertz got injured and they didn't have a striker, it then turned into this weird campaign of, this is Cheeto, if you'd left, you'd have been playing right now in Arsenal. You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace. So don't say you don't care, because clearly you do. And then it was, well, Cheeto and Aid in Heaven, it's just, man, they just threw money at them. They just threw loads of money at them, and that's the only reason they got there. Because why else? Why else would they go to? Why else would they go to Manchester United? Why are you just sitting right there, Laurie Whitwell? Other clubs actually offered considerably more. Newcastle, Chelsea offered double what Manchester United offered. Didn't want to go there, because actually for the younger players, and this is where we, I suppose, do have an opportunity with the mud that we are in. Is that we can say, look, we're in a rebuilding phase. You're going to get opportunities. You're going to get chances. And actually, people will probably look at now Aid in Heaven as an example. In the same way that you look at the likes of when Sancho went to Dortmund, because he did so well there, he became seen as an example. If I'm a young player, I'm a young English player, well, maybe I'm not going to get opportunities to play at the big clubs in the Premier League, and actually be good for my development if I go abroad, go to Europe, and I play regularly. I might not earn as much money, but I'll play for a big team and I'll get better. So Sancho did it, and everyone went, well, I tell you what, that's what I'm going to do. Jude Bellingham's done it. Now his brother's doing it. You know, Madueke, he did it as well. So I think with the young players, or some young players anyway, I think there is this sort of shift now where it is about, obviously, look, money's always going to talk in football, but it is this kind of, well, can you promise me opportunity? Can you offer me opportunity? Will I play games? And people, I think now, will look at the Aiden Heaven transfer and go, well, tell you what, he's playing quite regularly for Man United and he's doing all right. They've got some kind of streamlined plan to get into the first team. And if it does happen again I don't think the plan was to have Chido playing as many games as he played towards the end of the season, because I just don't think the intention, well, when you've signed Xerxes in the summer and it was Xerxes not even actually a striker and Højlund's injured and he can't score goals, I don't think the intention was, oh yeah, well, Chido, you're going to be playing games. I think if anything, the plan was maybe to integrate Chido more into the first team towards the end of this coming season, but circumstances dictated that one a little bit. But the signings of people like Aiden Heaven and to an extent Lenny Yoro, obviously Yoro was for much more money, but I think younger players hopefully will look at that and go, well, I tell you what, I will get a shot. I can go to Man United and I will get an opportunity in the first team, even if they're shit. I'll still get opportunity, because that's actually for the whole Lenny Yoro saga last summer of there's no way and he's going to go to Real Madrid, and obviously then pulled off that signing and then gets injured. And, you know, there was the media and ops were desperate to try and tell us how we'd made a mistake with Lenny Yoro. And they only got the opportunity once with that game against Southampton, but that's it, because they couldn't. Lenny Yoro in one season became one of our most critical defenders, so much so that when there was the possibility he'd be out for the Europa League final, thankfully he wasn't, we were terrified. And he's still ridiculously young. He's only going to get better. He's only going to get considerably better. I mean, how old's Lenny Yoro again? Is he 18, 19 now? He's 19 years old. He turns 20 in November. He is top quality. The player he'll be when he's in his, mid to late 20s, I think is frightening. And that's one of those ones, again, that, we spent quite a bit of money on him last summer for an 18-year-old, but you already look at it and you go, no one's going to care about that in a couple of years' time. That's going to be money well spent, because he is a top player. If anything, at points last season, I actually felt bad for him of being like, you're playing in a rubbish team here, mate. It's not your fault. You've got bits to improve on, but as a 19-year-old footballer, who doesn't? So I think looking at those signings, hopefully that's going to encourage more young players to join us. But that's not just to say that we just need young players, because of course we do need that ready-made experience now, which is why we're going after Cunha, which is why we're going after Mbumo, and we'll see who else we do get this summer. So there you go, folks. That is the transfer view for you this morning. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Where did we end up at? 25 likes away. 25 likes away from 500. There's still close to 1,300 of you watching right now, which is fantastic. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Let's get to 500 on the way out, which would be amazing for a solo-in show. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in. A reminder, coming up later today, 4 p.m. live, it is it's the Trinity. Yes, it's the Trinity. It's the Trinity podcast. KG, that comedian, and myself will be joined by a special guest live at 4 p.m. Trinity is now live right there, live at 4 p.m. So be sure to get involved in that. You guys have really enjoyed it being live the last few weeks. I tell you, the last 2 episodes of the Trinity have been crazy. We basically had the court case a couple of weeks ago with KG and Fleck. That was insanity. And then last week, when Flex had to leave early, and that was when the Mbumo stuff was happening. Yeah, that was mad too. So, yes, you can join us for the Trinity, 4 p.m. Of course, if anything happens in between, I'll be here, so I'll be able to cover it for you guys. Be sure to scan and subscribe to the Football Flex, over 15K over there now. And if you haven't already and you enjoy the graps, go over to my channel, OWEN News 36555, and you can subscribe there. The aim is to get to 25K in 2025 on that channel, and I think I'm on 23,500, just over 23,500, I think. So, yes, if you haven't already, go over there and be sure to subscribe. A big summer coming up on that channel too. Anyway, guys, have a good Friday morning. stay in the shade, or if you are going outside, make sure you wear your UV. UV recommends to wear your, UV protection. Very important, folks. And also make sure you stay hydrated. It's very hot, the weather and all that fun stuff. And we'll be back this afternoon. I'm out of here. Peace.